Roxy, this is the Atlantis number 9. Whiskey out there, 3969. We're confirming hatches are secured. Pipe support is up and running. We are ballasted for the tour at 3,300 pounds of water. We have 45 guests on board. The depth below is reaching 112 feet. We're now requesting permission to begin the dive as we have the urge to submerge.
Atlantis number 9 with both hatches secure, ballast 3,300 pounds, depth less than 150. You may open vents, begin your dive.
Roger, we'll begin the dive by opening vents and flooding tanks.
So we're flooding all 12 ballast tanks. They're flooding with seawater, yet we remain positively buoyant. We never dive negatively buoyant. The sub always wants to float.
Channel vents open, 10-7, stand by for ballast.
Standing by for ballast at 27 after the hour.
Positively buoyant, next wash, quarter on vertical.
Roger, understanding cleared on vertical. Dive, dive, dive.
Is that cool? That's a real thing. That's a submarine diving alarm. We are diving. That was a gift from Ernest Borgnine. That's a real submarine diving alarm. Now, don't confuse that diving alarm that we got from the movies with the real alarms on the sub. Like the flooding alarm sounds like this. Fire alarm sounds like this. Safety first. And we're diving. Take a look aft on the starboard. You can see a depth indicator pushing 8 feet. All the way forward, right behind me, you can see another depth indicator. You're going to see these max out at 128, 130. We'll be on the bottom of the Ow channel at about 130 feet. Now that the dive's begun, we've got your money and you have nowhere to go for the next 45 minutes. There's something else I should mention. When you look out the viewport, you're not seeing any fish. Not one fish. We don't dive where there are fish. We used to, the fish were cool, but the fish have become a distraction. For the next 45 minutes, I'll need your undivided attention as I explain the benefits of timeshare ownership. Yes, Atlantis Villages. It's a sprawling condo complex in PA, over 900 units. If you want to see fish lit between your viewports, you'll see the white plastic cards with the brightly colored tropical fish on both sides, full color. Those are your fish. And if you have questions about those fish, you can ask me or Dave, your co-pilot. We both have BS degrees in marine biology, which doesn't stand for Bachelor of Science.
This is how thick the windows are. Oh, wow. This is how thick the windows are.
Oh, wow. Wow, that's pretty thick. Never seen cities.
Oh, there's another one.
The safety gear that I told you about is in the lockers at your knees. Don't try to pry those lids open. You can't. If you have to get in there, Dave's got some triggers that will pop those lids at the same time. But anyway, that's where the safety gear is. And, oh, here comes some fish. These bags up here, these are called Aloha bags. They're yours. You can have as many as you wish, but they're to go. So no surprises with the Aloha bags. And there's the bottom. Look straight down. There's the bottom of the Ow channel. All the dark stuff you're looking at is living coral. The white stuff that looks like sand is sand. Do we have any marine biologists on board? Any marine biologists? No? No? Perfect. I feel better. I had a dive a couple months ago where there were 2 marine biologists on board and I was sweating bullets. But nah, I know a little bit about what's going on down here. So does Dave, your co-pilot. He's actually my father. Between the two of us, we've probably done about 8,000 scuba dives, conservatively, in Maui County. Now the whirring sound that you hear midships, that whirring sound, those are the vertical thrusters that force the sub down. The sub's always positively buoyant, so the verticals force her down. And this is a built-in safety measure, if you think about it. If we lost power to 150 feet, or if Tony had another heart attack, we just bob right back to the surface. And oh, he's feeling better. He's heavily medicated. The doctor said it would be extremely unusual if a guy so young and apparently healthy had 3 heart attacks back to back. So they've got him heavily medicated on a weird combo of Celebrex and Cialis. So yeah, he's perky. Definitely good to go.
Can we test our lights?
Good question from the gentleman from Phoenix, where there is no water but lots of pools. Is the sub pressurized? Yes, we're pressurized to 1 atmosphere, just like dry land. 1 atmosphere, dry land, sea level. So we don't have to clear our ears up and down, and we also don't get bent, right? On scuba, okay, this profile that we're going to work on this dive, we're going to be diving, we'll be maxing out at literally or virtually 130 feet for 45 minutes. Any scuba divers on board? Okay, a dive profile of 130 for 45, you would be doing some huge stage decompression on the way up. So it would be very, very time consuming. But on the sub, since we're pressurized, we can dive all day, day after day, year after year, decade after decade, not worry about getting bent. We could jump right out of the sub and go up to 20,000 feet, not a problem at all. On scuba, you'd be waiting for 12 to 24 hours to do that after a dive of such a profile. Side, we're approaching the South Reef. Approaching the South Reef, and the port side has it. Since we're sitting on both sides, your pilot's well aware of that, and he's going to be making equal passes at the various points of interest that we encounter. Sometimes we'll favor the port, sometimes we'll favor the starboard, back and forth, on and on. You're all going to be seeing the same stuff, it just won't be at exactly the same time. So if the side opposite you is having a view of whatever, then just spin a 180, share their viewport, they'll be doing the same thing to you. Now I mentioned that a lot of the Au Au Channel at one time was dry land, and the area that we're diving in right now, it was definitely dry land at one time. So all the contour you see, all the physical contour you see is all lava flow encrusted with living coral. The South Reef, which is just south of the North Reef, is composed almost entirely of a coral called plate coral, and as you can see, the plate coral grows in a series of plates. Coral is named after what it looks like. Plate coral growing in a series of plates at a rate of about 1 centimeter a year. So if you look at the volume of this reef, you can imagine how many hundreds of years old it is, given its relatively extreme depth, virtually untouched by humans. So this reef is a perfect example of a living, thriving Hawaiian coral reef ecosystem. We are in the aquarium, and it's a big one. And as you can see, port side, when you get a lot of reef, you get a lot of fish. So the larger and more intricate the structure of the reef, the larger and more diverse the fish population that reef will support.
Well, they're little ones.
So port side, you have the reef, you have the fish. Starboard side, you have nothing. And that's the way it's going to be for the entire dive, because we just like the port side a lot more. I just like the word port. It reminds me a lot of sherry. So, this big mass of bright yellow fish with the blue horizontal stripes, those are called blue striped snapper. They're on your sushi menu as the blue line snapper. Yeah. How come they're all hanging out together? Safety.